Good morning, everybody. This is Dee. I am going to be starting our technical assistance session. If you have problems hearing on your computer speaker, you can dial into the conference number at 866-821-1611, and I have on the call with me Tammy Stone from DCEO, and I have Natasha Tulger from Illinois WorkNet, along with Chelsea Jones and Lacey Pollock. So we're going to get started with anything that you might need questions answered about that we can answer for you right now. If you have not had a chance to fill in what you need some questions answered about, please do that. We will be taking a look at that. And if you hadn't noticed, we've had a couple of updates to our SYEP page. I love the scrolling banner across the front. So let's get started, and we'll start with eligibility and enrollment because that's where we have some questions. If you have a question about eligibility and enrollment, if you could type that into the chat pod so that we can answer that for you specifically, we'll get those answers for you. But while we're waiting for you to type, I'm going to take a look at a couple of the things that we've gotten updated besides our pretty pictures. Under the locations on the website, we have all of the locations that we have verified with all of their programs and the information, and the youth can see it by a grid in alphabetical order, and then it's separated by DCEO programs and DHS programs, so they may have to scroll a little bit through to find the exact right program. They can look at it in a list, they can look at it in the grid, and they can look at it in a map location. So this is really pretty cool. They can zoom in and take a look closer. So if they want to see what's going on in Rockford, all they have to do is come in real close to the Rockford area and take a look at what the information says right there. So that's a really great tool to help the youth find it. Again, our application is live. All they have to do is go to the apply. When they click on the program, they get the questions that will help screen them as to whether or not they have already filled in an application from the past, and so that will help prompt them if they've already been part of the program last year. And again, under our resources, everything is available for youth, whether or not they're accepted into the program or not. Back under the SYEP guide, we have some updates to our Get Started. And again, just to refresh your memory, if there are any updates that we do, they will be tracked under SYEP 2014 updates, so that we can keep you apprised of what's going on. We've had some updates happen today that will get updated there as well. Under the Get Started, we have some new information that has been added about adding the ability to change groups, which we're going to show you here in just a moment with a demonstration. But please check back here. Anything that is live will be underlined so that you can go in and check those links as well. So make sure that you keep checking back with the guide. So we had a question that Natasha looks like she answered for us. So that's really good. I'm going to move this poll out of the way so that we can make the screen bigger so that you can see the demonstration that I'm going to be doing now. And we're going to go to our test pages So this is the SYEP tools, and as a reminder, you can access those by going to the bottom of your page, going to the guide, and then going to the partner tools. So this is live information. I'm not going to log in there. But what that will do is it will take you to the dashboard, and I am in test mode here so that we don't see any live data of any of our youth because we are recording this session for future use if you need it. And I don't want youth information out on the recording. So as we look here, we have completed applications 4, applications in progress, 3 of them for a total of 7 that is part of the Springfield Urban League. And what we can do here is take a look at the general group, and under the general group it gives you a definition of what that means. But in the general group we have one application that's there that it will ask me to log in. Again, sorry I wasn't in here. When registering a youth, does the registration date need to be the same as the application date? Are you talking about eligible or just the application? I do not believe so, because the youth will be filling out the application, and so the date will go into the system the same day that the application is completed. So that is what's what's going on with that. If you're registering the youth, I'm thinking that that's the intake process that you're talking about.
And this is Tammy. There's a difference that you may have an application date and then an enrollment date. So the enrollment date would be when you verified that they're eligible and you're enrolling them in the program. And I believe that's all done in the system.
So, okay, so Tammy's saying, so when we print and they sign, what date should they date it?
I would say the date they've completed the application. So they would sign it with their case manager the date that they completed the application. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be eligible or be enrolled in the program, though. And then once you determine eligibility and get all of their documentation and enroll them in the program, you'll do that in the system. And then I'm assuming the system has an enrollment date based upon that.
All right. All right. Okay, I'm going to try and do this.
And I see Tammy's basically when they sign the application, it should be date of signature. Whenever they're signing the application, just use that date.
Yay, okay. So now
And while he's going through that, if you guys have any program questions, please, type them in also. We are moving grants. DCEO is moving the grants right now. Most of them should be out to signature. We just need a fast return on those, obviously, especially the 04, because with DCEO, we've got 2 different funding sources. So the 04 state funding needs to be completed before the end of the state fiscal year. So there's a push for those to get into us. And like I said, we're working those. Christy Ruppel is the one that you'll receive emails from regarding that. So just please respond to those emails promptly and get those signed documents back to us. And we plan to have everything completed by Monday. And then we will be doing cash requests once they're obligated to cut the comptroller office. So your 04 grants will do 100% cash requests, and then your 05 grants will be based upon production.
All right, great. We are trying to get this up and moving, and it looks like I'm still getting a system error. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now so that you guys don't see all of this stuff. Um, Chantel, Tammy, did you just answer Chantel's? Can more than one person at an organization have access to the system? Yes. As we do need to know who that is. Chelsea is typing an answer in there right now. So as long as they are a workforce professional partner or workforce partner on the Illinois WorkNet system, we can give them access. You just need to let us know who it is that needs to have access, and we will grant that to them. And the instruction sheet. So set up the team, set up an Illinois WorkNet Workforce Partner account. We're opening this up so that you can see what the directions are.
Yeah, Dee. While they're
Okay.
going ahead and looking at the test environment, and I apologize for that, we do have instructions that are out there that are available for you, and Dee is showing those on the screen. So, as you know, we have lots of outreach materials. We have instructions to help you with, getting your staff set up so that they can access the summer youth tools. But then, Dee, if you don't mind, if you would go on, just go back to the, I'm
Partner
sorry,
guide?
let me go down. Here we go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You see, oops,
I moved.
yeah,
You want
you
me to
moved.
be in the get started?
Yeah, it was towards the bottom. Sorry about that.
Okay.
At the bottom, there are some instructions down there for accessing your application. So we've seen that there are lots and lots of applications that are coming in, and I saw that some people have already started enrolling their youth, and that's great. And anyone who has access to the SYEP tools can go ahead and start reviewing this information. So, if you go to the guide, which you'll see the URL is there at the top, and then you log in, there's a place to sign into your SYEP partner tools. And then if you scroll down, then you'll see that whenever you're in the tools, we have a dashboard. And there are some instructions in here that show you, that talk about your dashboard and how your dashboard is used to have, basically show you the pipeline, where people are in the pipeline. So as they come in, you'll see at the very top, we have eligibility determination status. And in your dashboard, they have, there's kind of color coding. So there's yellow, which means something needs to happen to that person before they can move on to the next step. Green means that we're all good to go and they can move on to the next step. And then red means, this is where the person stops right here. So what Dee's showing you on the screen, you'll see that it's yellow and it says submitted. Now these are all the people that have submitted an application for your organization. So when you click on that number, it's going to give you a filtered list of all the applications that still need something to be done with them. So what you can do is you click on that link, and it gives you a list of the people that have submitted the application. So you can just simply, you'll see there's an arrow in there, and it's hard to see on the screen, but it does say the word profile. So you click on the link for the profile, and you will see the youth information, and you'll see their application. So one of the things that we learned last year is that you can expect to have some updates that need to be made to the youth application. So you'll see that for each of the areas in the application, you can click the link to edit the information for that section. You can, only you have access to do that. Once a youth submits their application, then it's done. It's submitted. But you, as a partner, can go in and edit that information as needed. Maybe they didn't know that they qualified, or they didn't know about they had certain, they were part of special programs. You can update that information, or maybe they, put the last, the wrong address, wrong phone number. Not a problem. So go ahead and update the information. Then once it's all fine and dandy, you can print the application. It's not showing on this page, but there is a printer-friendly application. And when it prints out, it'll have signature lines at the bottom. So you can go ahead and get those signatures. And then you place that copy of the application in the file. So I'm assuming, Tammy, you'll still want them to have that, keep that on file. Is that correct?
Yeah, we want client files for each of the youth, so they would have the application, any documentation for eligibility determination. They have to have an I-9 form. Timesheets, we provided timesheets for them to use. Those could be kept in the fiscal office if need be, but they need to be accessible so that we can see, the timesheets. All of this information will be kept in each individual's client files.
So that's really one of the first steps that you need to do, is just to start reviewing that information. Then D, if you would go ahead and go back to the guide. And there is, before we move on to the eligibility and enrollment, can you click on the dashboard overview? Down a little bit. It was in the Get Started page where you just were. And these are all available for you. They're out on production. This is not test. This is production. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the dashboard really gives you a snapshot of the everything, where everybody is in the pipeline. So there were some questions earlier about, can multiple people have access to these tools? And the answer is yes. And you will have access to the organization that you're associated with. So I know that Chelsea and Scarlett and Lacey have been calling the areas and using the information that was provided at the in-person meeting to make sure that all those workforce partners that were identified are set up in Illinois WorkNet with an Illinois WorkNet account, and they have access to the SYAP partner tools. And since you have that access, and when you log in, you'll see this is the first thing that you're going to see. You're going to see your overall snapshot overview of everybody that is in the pipeline for your organization. So in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see it says completed applications. You can see how many have been completed. You can see how many are in progress. So that's kind of helpful to know, so you can see what's coming down the road. And then, as I mentioned before, you'll see we have eligibility determination. We briefly touched on this. The yellow, again, means action needs to happen. So they're kind of in limbo. They need something to happen. Green means that's great. They're going to move on to the next section. And red means that they need to stop right there. So in this case, for the eligibility determination, you'll see it says not eligible. And that just, they can't obviously move forward in the program if they're not eligible. You'll see off to the right a little bit, there it says loss and pass rate. And so in each of these sections, you can see that, where the people, your applicants, have dropped off and where they're moving forward. And I just wanted to point out that the loss and pass rate is calculated by using the red and green totals. The yellow is not included in that. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we have the enrollment status. So first of all, you're going to determine their eligibility. Next, you're going to enroll them. So if nothing has been determined yet, a status hasn't been set, then I see there's a question about hearing. I hope if you don't mind, if everybody that can hear me can use your icon at the top to let me know if you can hear me. There's a person with hand. Okay. So we do see some people that can hear. If you can't, you can go ahead and call in. There's a phone number listed at the bottom of the screen, and you can call in with that. Of course, somebody could type that in. That'd be great. Okay. So in this case, we have the not enrolled, and that just means that that status has not been set. Then we have the enrolled, of course, so they'll move on to the next section. And you might have some instances where, the person at one time they were interested, but for whatever reason they decided they're not going to participate, so you can mark them as declined the offer, or maybe you find out that it's just not a good match, they're not suitable, or maybe you want to kind of hold on to them for a little bit to see if you have some more openings. So maybe it's do not enroll at this time, but maybe you're going to enroll them in a week or two. So you can do that. So that's enrollment status. So once they're green, once they're enrolled, then they're going to move on down to this next section, and you'll see there's a lot of yellow here, and that's okay. What this section means is that there's a few things that are required in order to be considered completing the program successfully, and that includes they must complete a pre-assessment, they must complete a post-assessment, and they must complete a worksite experience. And the way we determine that they've had that worksite experience is by having you upload at least one payroll entry for that participant. So you'll see the Section A is just the pre-assessment, so you'll see there you'll have your listing of complete and not complete. So you can easily click on those links and filter out the group of people. If you see a group of people that are not complete, you can click on it and you'll know exactly who needs to complete the pre-assessment. Same with the post-assessment. Click on the link for a not complete, easily see the people that need to do that, and the same with the work placement. Once they have met those criteria as yes, a pre-assessment, yes, a post-assessment, and yes, a worksite experience with a payroll entry, they are going to move into the green section because they have all the criteria that's needed to successfully complete the program, be considered a successful completion. So again, remember, green means you move on down to the next section. So let's take a look at the next section, which is bigger completion status. And if we need to change the name of that, then that's fine. And I see a question about how long does it take to take the pre-assessment. The pre-assessment is 25 questions, and I don't know, Chelsea, Lacey, if you want to chime in, let me know. I would say it probably takes, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, maybe if they're really, really thinking about it, 25 minutes. Yes, okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the completion status. If we need to change this terminology a little bit, then that's fine. You just let me know. But what this really is maybe it's like the outcomes. As a result of them, being considered a successful completion, what is their next step? Are they going to return to school? Are they going to be hired by their employer? Are they going to be enrolled in training? And actually, we need to add another one in here is maybe they're going into the military. That's another option. Or for whatever instance, maybe they had to withdraw from the program early. So, but this is your dashboard overview. So you can easily see where people are in the pipeline. Click on the link, and you have a filtered list to go directly to those people that you need to have access to. Okay, and then I know I only have a few more minutes here, so Dee, can you go back to the guide? Or, back to that page. Yeah, just stay there. Okay, and so go down to Set Eligibility and Enrollment Status. So we looked at, okay, that's weird. Oh, okay, that's my fault. I must have it checked out or something. I apologize. Okay.
And I can't get
Well,
into,
let me look at that page real
you want
quick.
me to release the screen so that you can,
Nope. You can actually, if you want to go ahead and, Chris did come in and say that they have the test environment up and running. So if you want to log in, you can go directly into that. There you go. Okay, go ahead and select somebody that is in the eligible list. Or actually, I'm sorry, in the not enrolled list, sorry, from your dashboard. Either way. And then go ahead and click on their profile. Okay, and then so D, you can take it from here.
all right.
There's the
So,
eligibility enrollment status.
all right. So now we have Alan Alda is currently with the Springfield Urban League. If, for example, you have had enough of your youth that you are filled with your quota, you can then change the organization to put the person back into the general pool. And if you select this and then update the organization, they will be back in the general pool. As we're in the organization itself, then we have their eligibility status so that we can look at whether it's eligible and or enrolled. So if we want to make change the status at all, we can say that it's submitted, eligible, or not eligible, and then they can be enrolled, decline enrollment after, offer, not suitable, do not enroll at this time, or exited. So if you want to enroll them to get them into services, they do need to be eligible and enrolled before you can pick one of the projects for them in which they are going to participate. So if I want to put Alan Alda, he's eligible, he's enrolled, and he's going to be in work experience project for out-of-school youth, then we would update this, and then he becomes part of the list. So if we go back to the dashboard, we would see that he is enrolled and eligible if we look at the list. All right. Any other questions that we have from the audience that we can talk about today? We have 1 minute left on our half-hour time frame that we're allotting for this. When will we be able to change the organization for youth we don't need? I believe that we have pushed this out today so that you can more than likely take care of this when you're done with the call today. So that is, you may need to refresh your screen and log in again, but that should be available. It was pushed out this morning. Any other questions from the audience? And
Deacon and Natasha, can you kind of give them a timeline of when you're pushing different products out? Because I know we talked about like when they can enter employers into the system, and I
Right.
think that's going to be pushed out on Monday. Is that correct?
Monday. Yes, Monday.
Right. Now, for grantees, if you're working with your youth and you're getting them working now, if you have an 04 grant, you can place them in jobs in June. If you have an 05 grant and only an 05 grant, you have to wait until July 1st. But if you have an 04 grant, you can start with your youth now. And if you can, if you've determined them eligible, and you can start them working, but starting Monday, then you can actually link them in the system to that employer.
All right. Okay, so Natasha has where we had the challenge with getting this PDF open that has now been, whoops, fixed, maybe.
Have to refresh it. I had to
Let me
close my browser
refresh
and go
my
back to the page.
here. All right, so now I'll go back down here. There we go. So this is the, to help with your eligibility and enrollment. This is the handout that Natasha was trying to get me to be able to open a little bit ago. So when we're looking at this, you get to see the information that we were talking about. This setting eligible and enroll.
Okay.
This is the demonstration that I just did, picking what program that they're going to go into, and then setting the program. So those are the directions that are available now. Any other questions from the audience? If we see no other questions, we are going to close today's recording. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. We appreciate it through all of our technical challenges. And we will see you again on July 2nd, I believe. I'm sorry. Yes, July 2nd. And this afternoon is our first violence prevention webinar. It will be at 1 p.m. and we will be recording that presentation in segments so that you can show it to your youth and have discussions if that's what you would like to do. Otherwise, they can just watch each segment. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys later on today.